the virus hunters who search bat caves to predict the next pandemic. Before entering the cave, the small team of scientists pull on hazmat suits, face masks and thick gloves to cover every inch of their skin. Contact with bat droppings or urine could expose them to some of the world's deadliest unknown viruses. Equipped with headlights, they set their nets up at the entrance of the dark opening overhung with bamboo trees, which is part of a vast system of limestone caves in China's southwestern Yunnan province. Then they patiently wait for dusk. When the sun sets, thousands of bats fly out of the caves, looking for food, and straight into their nets. The scientists collect the nets and carefully put the bats to sleep with a mild anesthetic before delicately extracting blood from a vein on their wings. We also carry out oral and fecal swabs and gather droppings, says Peter Daszak, who presides over EcoHealth Alliance, an American NGO which specializes in detecting new viruses and pandemic prevention. Bats to humans. Southeast Asia and China are of particular interest as large swaths of their populations make regular contact with wildlife by hunting it, selling it, often live in wet markets and eating it, according to Daszak. After analyzing blood samples of people living near two bat caves in Jining County, Yunnan Province in 2015, Daszak's team found that 3% had antibodies for viruses normally only found in bats, meaning they had already been exposed to them. They might have unknowingly contracted these pathogens and recovered or only had a few body cells infected, he says. To make the jump to humans, coronaviruses need to be able to bind to their cell receptors, which usually requires an intermediate animal host, explains Wang. This can be a civet cat, a camel, a pangolin or another mammal closely related to humans, he said. But they usually originate in bats, which carry an extremely high proportion of viruses capable of infecting humans, such as Marburg, Nipah, Ebola and SARS, according to Daszak, who co-authored a study in Nature on this topic in 2017. Because bats are flying mammals, their body is exposed to a lot of stress, which would normally generate an immune system response, he explains. To deal with this, they have to tone down their immune systems, which in turn makes them more susceptible to viruses and capable of tolerating a higher viral load. Bats also make up roughly 20% of all mammal species and congregate in huge colonies in crowded caves, making the spread of viruses among them more likely. COVID-19. When COVID-19 appeared, Shi Zhengli, a virologist at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, immediately compared it to the database she had compiled with the 500 new coronaviruses identified by EcoHealth Alliance. There was a hit. The new coronavirus matched a sample taken from a horseshoe bat in a cave in Yunnan in 2013, says Daszak. It was 96.2% identical. That means the virus was either the ancestor of the virus causing the current epidemic or a close relative. It is highly likely that an intermediate animal host was involved and transmitted the virus to humans, accounting for the 3.8% difference in genome, he says. Knowing where a new virus came from and how it was transmitted to humans is a crucial piece of information. It can enable early detection of an epidemic and a timely introduction of measures to contain its spread, says Wachera Prooksadi. In the case of COVID-19, knowing where it originated will help scientists understand how it mutated to become infectious to humans and hopefully prevent future outbreaks, said Daszak. There is a precedent. In January 2019, Columbia University's Mailman School of Public Health and EcoHealth Alliance announced they had found a bat in Liberia carrying the Zaire strain of Ebola, which caused the 2013-16 outbreak in West Africa, meaning they had found the probable source of the epidemic which caused over 11,000 deaths. The blood samples taken from the bats contain antibodies, which they produce to fight off the virus, says Wang. These could serve as a basis for the development of a vaccine or a plasma treatment against a new pathogen. Just before the pandemic hit, the future of PREDICT was looking uncertain, as its funding was set to expire at the end of March 2020. But COVID-19 has shown how essential the virus hunter's work is, and it has now received a 6-month extension worth $2.26 million, according to a press release by Davis. While virus hunters have had to hang up their hazmat suits and cancel their sampling expeditions, they are providing emergency support to test for COVID-19 cases in Africa, Asia and the Middle East, as well as helping shape public health responses to the pandemic in those countries, according to a notice by Art Davis. We hope to get back out there again, as soon as possible, says Zach. And then we will focus all our efforts on finding out where exactly COVID-19 came from. Source: CNN.